Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CPA Lady Podcast. My name is Marjorie McPike. I am your host. I am a CPA in Southern California, where I help small businesses with accounting, tax preparation, tax planning, tax strategies, and I do kind of touch on a little bit of estate planning and generational wealth. I am here today with DeMario Black, a CPA in Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta, Hotlanta. DeMario, can you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Hey guys, like Marjorie said, my name is DeMario Black. I'm a CPA in Georgia. I started in Michigan. So I'm originally from Michigan, went to Michigan State to get my bachelor's and master's degree in accounting and started working in audit at Ernst & Young in Detroit. And during college, I actually started preparing taxes with my mentor, who was a CPA, and continued that through my career and relocated to Georgia because it's too cold in Michigan and I had family and friends down here as well. So it worked out just fine and it's easy to catch a flight back, but I'm enjoying my time here more. My firm focuses on personal and business. So majority of our work is around small businesses, tax preparation on the business and personal side, some business formation, which can be key for tax savings for those small business owners. We also help out with payroll, and life insurance is a new piece because we see it's a big need and a lack of in the community of people maybe not understanding maybe how affordable it is or that they actually do need it. Especially for small business owners or people who don't have a policy outside of their current job, right? Because that doesn't travel with you, which is a big misconception. But we are trying to grow the firm to where we help from a full financial perspective. So not just a one-stop shop for, becoming a one-stop shop and not just being solely focused on tax or bookkeeping, right? So we want to be able to help our clients across the board or get them to a resource that we trust.
I like that. I like that. And I heard you say small businesses. So these are entrepreneurs. Did you have like a lot of new clients or new businesses in 2020?
A lot of them. So we focused on small to mid-range sole practitioners who have started a single member LLC or S Corp. So not your larger corporation, but mid-sized companies, 100 or less employees. Most industries that we work in is real estate, medical, dental, the therapy realm, and then a mix of such between barbers, some entertainers in Atlanta, and entrepreneurs, even social media entrepreneurs. That's a big thing. But a lot of people either started a business or they had a small business that they start taking more serious in 2020. And a lot of them weren't set up right, or they haven't filed their taxes in a while, or they didn't understand that they had to have bookkeeping because they would come and say, need you to file your tax return. And I say, well, where's your profit and loss and balance sheet? Well, I don't know anything about that. I said, how do you know your business is doing well or your financial health, right? So we try to help fill that gap or get them up to speed. And formation wise, a lot of small business owners don't know after you make a certain amount of money as a sole proprietor, single member LLC, it may be time to S Corp to save on that self-employment tax. That's a big piece, and then you can't just elect that status either. You got to have proper payroll in place and things like that. So you got to play by the government's rule book, and you actually save more than try to avoid them altogether, because a lot more is being reported, right, on both ends. So they know you making the money, so they're going to come one day or later. And then with the lending practices and also PPP and some of the government assistance, you have to have your ducks in a row. You have to have your filings current. So a lot of clients realized that and had to come out the woodworks to get that assistance in this
Right.
year.
Right. I like that you touched on that because, you find that people don't realize the importance of accounting
Mhm.
and of having good financial records. So I tweeted something the other day. I actually posted on Instagram too, and it said accounting is more important than marketing and sales. And I didn't get a lot of response. So I was like, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and elaborate on that one because, you know, it is important. It's good to have the marketing, it's good to have the sales. Yes, that's how you generate your revenue, but your financial, your financial foundation is going to make a difference as far as really growing and scaling your business, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because if you don't know where you're spending, or if you don't know profit at all, you don't know if you're making money or losing money.
right,
And a lot of business owners lose a lot of tax deductions because they just don't know what they spent. It's hard to say, I barely can remember what I ate for lunch Monday.
right,
Now you talk about going 3 years back and saying what you spent January of 2018 in
right.
business expenses. It's really hard to remember that off the top of your head if you don't have good records, at least an Excel sheet, right? I recommend QuickBooks for my clients because they make it easier, and these tools are very accessible and cheap
And she's
to use, and they help you. The benefit outweighs the cost by a landslide. So
right, right. I
very,
totally agree. I totally agree because that's what I'm speaking that now. It's like I just prepared a return for someone and we did 17, 18, 19, and 20. And
mhm,
it's like you're having to think of things that you've done or try to pull it together. It's like it's better if you have all of the information right now and move forward. The other thing that we can touch on is giving the information to your CPA. You know,
mhm,
it's like sometimes people don't want to tell you, right?
right.
So
I gotta know these things to help you. I'm here to
right,
help, like the doctor. The doctor can't help you if you don't provide all the information,
all the information.
right?
Right, right. So it's like if you're spending something, it's like, um, at least document it and then we can ask questions. It's like it's better to have too much information than not enough information. Have to keep going back and asking and asking and asking. Just give me all of it, you know?
Right.
Just makes it so much easier.
Um,
Hmm?
Another thing about that your clients, my clients, and those listeners out there need to know with filing taxes is documentation has become twice as important because they're ramping up audits,
Mm,
especially for small business owners who file on the Schedule C, right? So it's one thing to know it, but if you don't have the right type of documentation on file and they happen to audit you, which is totally random in most
mhm,
cases, there are things that create those red flags that help increase your chances, but anyone can be audited. And if you
right.
don't have those records in place, you'll lose deductions
Mhm,
and end up costing you more in tax. So the cost of having everything in line and hiring a professional to get this done will ways to see the cost that you're going to experience from the tax impact or any audit or investigation that may occur
mhm.
later.
I agree. I agree. So do you find that your clients, because I know some people are apprehensive about working with the CPA. So have you experienced that before? Is it kind of like a nurturing process, you know, to get them to open
Depends
up?
on the it depends on the business acumen that the client has.
Okay.
Some are skeptical. They're easy to pay a lawyer, easy to pay a doctor, but they don't
Mhm.
think an accountant is a necessary expense at first, which we could probably save them the most money
Mostly.
in the
Right.
long run.
Hmm.
So once they see the results, it justifies the cost, and it's still fairly reasonable.
Hmm.
It's not going to a big four accounting firm or a regional firm. Their prices probably wouldn't be affordable for small business owners,
Right.
but a firm, and I'm sure your firm tries to accommodate the client to make sure it's a reasonable price, but it creates value, right? So you're trying to help them, but you do still have to, it costs to help them. Um,
Right.
and you see that they just need the education, right? So one thing I'm trying to do is create an ebook, because I know everyone can't afford an accountant, let alone a CPA, to do
Right.
these type of services for them. So having a ebook manual that can kind of teach them some of the basics and they can build off that
Mm-hmm.
will help without paying the full cost of having that service. But they still got to put in the work.
Right.
Like a lot of clients will say, well, I'm not ready for a bookkeeping fee right now.
Mm-hmm.
I say, well, that's fine. You'll have to keep up with it on your own. And if you make the wrong, you know, categorizations on your accounts, and then your chart of accounts is messed up because maybe you got this PPP loan and you looked at the income when it's really supposed to be a loan, and you're not tracking the appropriate payroll and
Right.
rent expenses that you can use to get that loan forgiven, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to end up paying more, or having more issues there. Because
Right.
I see that a lot, or a client will have a deposit from capital they contribute, and they looked at the revenue. I said, it's not revenue. Now you're increasing your tax liability. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just those little nuances that us as professionals know that
Right.
the average business owner who doesn't have a background in accounting or finance just doesn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can try to do, you know, your books, but it's just certain things that you got to understand accounting and finance to do them correctly.
Right. Right. And that's why it helps to have, I think that everyone should do at least quarterly, you know,
Yeah, it's
at least quarterly.
quarterly.
If you,
It's,
you know,
it's
if you don't
going to
need
help
it
you
monthly, at
along.
least right, it's going to help you, and it's gonna make a big difference at the end, even if it's taking out distributions, and are your distributions going to be taxable? It's like, do
Right.
you have the basis for that? But
Hmm.
people don't think about that. So
Yeah, they don't. Because if you go over your bases, now it's taxable as an S corp, right? But
right.
if you know the rules and play within them, you can maximize your tax savings, or
Mm-hmm.
you can know where to spend, right? So a lot of my clients will have some profit left over towards the end of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I keep telling them tax planning is important, because can't come to me after December because we're limited on what we can do. If
Right.
we can see that trend and there's a gap there where you have profit coming in, we can say, okay, where can we invest it to make the business more money? Maybe advertising, better equipment,
Right.
um, resources, hiring help,
Mm-hmm.
or can we pay you through, increasing your salary or taking it as a distribution so you don't pay that 15%, right? So there's ways to do it, but you gotta have me around more than just at tax time for me to help with that. Because
Right.
at that point, we're limited. We,
Limit.
all we can do is maybe put it in the IRA or something to offset, but it takes tax planning and strategy to really get that impact. I think a lot of people get that misconstrued too,
Right.
because a lot of enrolled agents or just, tax preparers, they just prepare the return based off what you get. But a
Right.
CPA tax strategist will help you to where you save on taxes and still prepare, but there's
Mm-hmm.
strategies and things we have to implement throughout the year and monitor to make sure it's applied appropriately. Because you may get to the point where you're at a loss. Okay, so we need to scale back or see where we're spending too much. But we
Right.
only tell you that if we have proper bookkeeping in place to know the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and we're working with you throughout the year. So it's hard to get that across until they have the problem. So
Right.
then I gotta fix something. So I wish people would take a proactive approach of it, but a lot of clients, they got to learn the hard way.
You gotta have the right.
But I'm there for them either way. So I'd rather be more prepared in advance than tend to go through that, right? Let me save you some headache and some pain and some costs, right?
Right, right, right. That's my thing. It's like, let's be proactive.
Mhm.
What can we do to avoid things going forward? How can we make it better? How can you become a better business owner? I think that all business owners should know how to read a financial statement. You don't have to be able to interpret everything, but you should be able to read it and know basically what it says, right? You know, so that's the same thing with a tax return. So yeah, it's like you need to know what's on your tax return. That was my live last night. It's like you need to know what's on your tax return and know that it's prepared basically correct. You know what I mean? You may
Right.
not know the tax code, but hey, why am I getting a refund when I shouldn't have a refund? So I think it's
Mhm.
important that we educate, our clients,
Mhm.
and like you said, the ebook, I have some of those that I'm working on. I have a couple courses that are out, but it's the education piece. It's like we have to get the education out there. You have to be an informed business owner.
Right. It's very important because there's no other way to get ahead, and you don't want to go through these pitfalls alone. The education is a big piece.
Mhm,
And like you said, understanding your tax return, your financials can
mhm.
be detrimental. I have some clients that come to me and I ask for the prior year return, and I'll say, and this is our individual tax. I'll say, you have a business. You never told me you had a business. When we did our consultation and someone in the prior year for the whole business to get, a tax loss per se to kind of help them get a bigger refund. I'm like, but that's not good if the IRS comes knocking and you don't have, you may have to pay back taxes and penalties. And I said,
Mhm.
you need to ask these questions. Don't just be happy for a refund.
Yes, yes. Yes, you have to. You have to know what to expect. Yeah, have a general idea. So, yeah, I was going to ask you something about that. So life insurance. What that's a new portion of your firm that
Mhm.
you're offering in conjunction to your clients, or can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes. So when I wanted to, so my whole goal is to help my clients reach financial success, right? Whether it
Mhm,
be taxes, growing their business, the full financial health, right? And life insurance is a part of that, right? When you're looking at your financial health. And I see a lot of people aren't covered, don't understand
mhm,
whatever they do have is meant or don't have enough. And then the impact of COVID, I saw so many young people pass or grandma passed and she was like taking care of everybody. And now we have to do a GoFundMe or
mhm.
a cookout. And I'm like, that shouldn't be the case because life insurance is cheaper than kind of a night out. And a lot
Right.
of people, some of the young crowd in Atlanta, you guys spend more on that in a night of drinks than what you would spend a month to protect you,
Mhm,
right? So
mhm,
say something's to happen to you, you want your family in a better position, right? They should be
mhm,
able to take care of any liabilities that you have. And if you got children, you should be able to set it up for education or, just take care of the family. Like when I pass, my family shouldn't have to worry about how to bury me, come up with the funds to bury me, or worried about who's going to pay the mortgage next month.
right.
All that should be taken care of, and you should have the right amount of coverage. So I saw there was a need, and I
Mhm,
saw there are products out there, but there's no one. I mean, there are agents that are like, but there's no real Black financial advisors out there that are just educating and making sure people have the right information, right?
mm,
Right
mhm,
product. So I said, I kind of feel responsible to provide that, as well as me knowing what most of my clients do or don't have because I work so closely with their finances. I know you don't have insurance,
right.
right? Because I know you're not paying, you haven't talked about it, it's not on your tax return. If you're a small business owner and you don't have a job and you're just full time in your business and you don't have that as an expense, I'm saying, well, what's going to happen if something happens to you or your
Mhm,
family, right?
right.
Are the liabilities covered? Is your income that you're going to bring covered for a couple of years until the family can get on their feet or, to cover the things you had planned for the future? So I wanted to make sure I can maximize my ability to help my clients. So that was a big piece of it too.
That's awesome. So how does health insurance help a small business owner? 'Cause just from your perspective, so when you're kind of explaining that to them, is it just, making sure that the family is taken care of? Because there's no real tax, there's not a tax benefit because it's like for an S corp, it's a M1 deduction.
Right.
But it's just the overall, just kind of making sure that the whole thing is taken care
Mhm.
of. Okay.
So for the health side, most entrepreneurs self-insured, right? So if
Mhm.
they need to go to a doctor, they just pay the cost. But if you have, younger children or anybody with a health issue in the family, that can be very expensive,
Mhm.
right? It may be more affordable to have an insurance plan to supplement some of that cost,
Mhm.
right? So I think that's important for them because you never know what's going to happen. And then with the state of the world with COVID right now, health is a big importance to anyone, right? Even
Mhm.
if you don't have a family, you need to make sure you're covered from that standpoint. And if
Right.
you can't, and there's very affordable plans, and health insurance and both, life insurance too. But I definitely think everyone should have some coverage because you don't know what's going to happen. I
Gonna
actually
happen.
had a friend this week who's close to my age and has a son who passed suddenly, and we are all shocked by it. But you would have never known. She was a young attorney, right, a professional in her field, and she just passed. So you never know. Like your day could be tomorrow. So you want to be prepared for that
Mhm.
in case of
Mhm.
life, and then you want to have health insurance to take care of you while you're here when things happen. So you couldn't predict that. I couldn't predict that. We had business plans and stuff we were going to do. She was helping some of my clients,
Mhm.
but now, it's just all of a sudden, and you never know. So I'd rather people be prepared and understand the severity of it, right?
Right.
You just don't know.
You just don't know. Well, sorry to hear that. It's yeah. I'm not taking it lightly, but it's just you see so much of it, just people that you don't expect,
Right.
so it is a matter of being prepared and, more proactive. And that kind of goes into estate planning too. I don't know if you do any of that, or do you just kind of do the life insurance towards that part of it, estate planning or generational wealth?
Life for it because I'm trying to get a estate planning lawyer on my team. 'Cause I'm not going back to law school for the estate planning side, but it's a big importance, right?
Mhm.
So with life insurance, you need to have your estate plan. You need a will and you need a trust, right?
Right.
So the will to say how things should happen and the trust to handle it
To
for you.
handle it, yes. Hmm.
Even with life insurance per se. So if I pass and my son's under 18 and his mom's not around to take care of it, or it goes to probate. If you don't have a will and everything in place, it goes to probate.
Hmm.
And probate can drag from a month to 10 years. You don't know,
Right. Right.
right? And they have to determine who's the eligible eligible guardian for
Hmm.
my son. No,
Oh.
ain't nobody going through that. To have a will in place, got to trust. Money's going to go to there. It says explicitly how it should be spent, whether he gets a couple now just to take care of them and the rest is paid over through the years. That thing
Hmm.
needs to be planned out, right? I
Right.
tell clients the state plan is damn near just as important as just having the policies in place
Hmm.
because you can have them, but if something was to happen, you need a plan to how things should go as if you were here, right?
Hmm.
Because no one's speaking for you when you're gone, but your
Right.
will and trust will handle everything for you, right? And that has to do with all your assets, right? Where's your home going to go? Where are your cars or personal, family artifacts and things? Where is all that going to go?
Hmm.
If you don't have those things going to probate, the family's going to fight over it, and there's a lot of drama, and turmoil. So you don't want to put that. So estate planning is definitely key, and people need to be thinking about it because, like we said, we got to look at the full financial picture, right? And all those things are important. One pillar is not better than the rest. Like you need them all working together.
Need them all working together. It's all part of your team, right?
Yeah,
There's whole financial success circle.
financial health.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
all your limbs. You need all your organs to work together,
Right.
right? One's
Right.
down, it's all of them start,
Right.
eroding. You need everything to kind of work as a team.
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that. So, you mentioned your ebook and you have your business, your CPA firm. Do you do anything other as far as anything else like entrepreneurship? wise, or you just, I'm not saying just running your business, because that's a big
Right.
running a CPA firm is not, having a CPA firm is not a small thing, it's a
Yeah.
lot that's involved. Do you have any other plans, aspirations, anything else entrepreneurship wise?
Yeah, I actually want to get more into real estate. I've been
Mm,
saying it for years, so using the
mhm.
cash flow for my business to get some real estate properties, because as you know, there's a lot of tax deductions in real estate. So, I want to invest money there and grow a portfolio.
Mhm.
And I always advise my clients to, even if they're not in real estate, you want to get some type of real estate. They're not making any more land, so try to get something under your belt, and
Right.
it'll help you in the long run, right?
Mhm.
Outside of that, what I try to do, I add into my firm. So I try to do other entrepreneurial stuff that can be added to the firm's
At
value.
the firm. Okay.
Thing is financial security. So I'm not securities licensed.
Mhm.
I'm going to be in the process soon of studying. So I can offer the retirement packages and mutual funds to help clients and complete that full picture. So
Mhm.
a lot of licenses, a lot of
Mhm.
education and stuff to continue on to be able to offer all these. Because I
Mhm.
want to, like I said, just be that full package for my clients and deliver the most value for their
Right.
time.
Right. I like that securities license. I thought about that at one time. May have to circle back to that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough test, but we passed CPA exam, so that's
That's
what
it.
we did.
That's a CPA exam. You can do anything, right?
Right.
So very cool. Okay. So is there anything that you want to share? Any piece of advice that you would want to leave with the listeners? Anything else that you want to touch on? Um,
I would say it kind of hints on some of the things we talked about, for both personal and business. Have your affairs in order, um, documentation, and just I tell my client, I gotta be an adult here. You know, just have be organized and have things in order. You shouldn't, when someone asks you what's your financial statement, you don't know,
you
right?
know,
Or you gotta either have that, do you have a policy in place? Yes or no? Okay, let's get one, right? So have your ducks in a row, because it'll help you in the long run, and seek professional help. If you
mhm,
don't know it, ask someone or seek out professionals, and you don't have to do everything yourself, especially for those small business owners.
mhm,
I myself, I'm not good at marketing and advertising, so I outsource the work. Within
mhm,
their business, they need to focus on driving revenue or whatever that focus they are in. If they're in real estate, closing deals or
mhm.
finding deals, that should be their focus, not, marketing or accounting. Well, bookkeeping stuff, it takes time to do and understand. So
Mhm.
outsource the right help in the right areas, and it'll help
Mhm.
you grow,
Yeah.
especially in the business aspect. And personal side, it'll help you be more well-rounded and protected. And that way you can sleep more comfortably at night if
Mhm.
your finances are in the right hands, they're in order, you have a resource that you can reach out to if you got questions on what you want to do next, or is the family in the right position? Even if it's just yourself, am I in the right position financially?
Mhm.
You may do a budget, which I doubt most people do. They just, they know what they're spending and they know they're bringing money in, but they don't really have a set budget. Like, it's
Mhm.
good to get that stuff organized and really know where you stand, because if you know where you stand, you can really determine where you're going,
Right.
right? But if
Right.
you don't, you really can't
Mhm.
take yourself to the next level, or know if you're going in the right position, right? So everyone's not
Right.
going to be an entrepreneur. Everybody's not trying to be super rich, but you should know where you stand and be comfortable, for where you're going.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree. And if you're making a lot of money, you know that.
Maybe plan.
That
The
was my
more
whole
you make,
thing.
the more they will take.
Right. Right. And that's kind of why that's the reason why I jumped into starting my own firm, because I would be on Instagram like, oh, I made $100,000 on the stock market. Oh, I had $100,000 in sales, and oh, I just hit my first million. I'm like, oh my goodness, do you know what your
Right.
tax situation is going to look like? It's like,
Right.
wait.
You want to make 6 figures and file a Schedule C.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Basically giving the government 15%.
Yes. On top of the other,
Yeah, that's
in
just
addition.
one part. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah.
Appreciation. A lot of it is just you just don't know what you don't know. And like the deductions you can get as a business owner far exceed what you get personally, and you got to know what they are, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Independent, using your home office, that's a tax write-off. You use
Mm-hmm.
your personal vehicle in your business, that's a write-off too, right? And what can you write off?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those things get missed because people don't want to get the right help. So I just stress, like, if it don't hurt to ask, right?
Right.
At least Google the right professional
Right.
so you can find someone, but don't try to figure it all out on yourself
I'm trying to figure it out.
because it's
Right.
just not going to help you in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And get some education. Read some books. If you're in business, read some accounting books. They don't have to be long, but read something to get some information so that you kind of know what you're doing. So
Yes,
yeah.
information is key. Don't get stagnant. Always be learning. Even as I'll tell people this, even as a CPA, I don't know everything yet. They
Mhm.
keep changing the tax law. There's new things we can. The tax code has 70,000 plus pages, so
Right.
we got to
Exactly.
learn, and we have continued education requirements because things change. The way the world works change. Right.
Right.
So always adapting and learning. So you should too, as
As a business.
individual, small business owner, even a professional. I'm not
Mhm.
going to sit there and say like I know everything because things are going to change and
Mhm.
there's always something that I can learn,
Right. Yeah, I agree. And we're always learning. So yeah, I agree. I agree. Do you do any community service?
Yes, not as much during the pandemic.
Mhm.
We
Right.
did do some work at the Atlanta House of Refuge and Junior Achievement. I always like going back to Junior Achievement
Okay.
um, in Detroit because they do a good financial education program
Mm.
at Junior Achievement, which I think a
Mhm.
lot of adults may need too. And it's basically
Mhm.
how to, get the kids a profile with a job. You got a family, you
Mhm.
got this much money. Now go out, get a car,
Oh
house
wow.
car, get some
Mhm.
place to stay before we get a car. And I always tell them that, and
Right.
how to spend on food and balance that out, right? So I think that's important to teach the kids young and even
Mhm.
some adults, because you got to learn how to do all these things,
You do.
and it's not taught in the like how I know I had to learn a lot when I got out of school that I
Mhm.
felt had been taught early. Like we don't like to talk about financing and how much is our house worth? How much does the family bring in
Mhm.
each month?
Mhm.
What are we spending on food? What's our budget? That's a missing conversation in a lot of the communities homes. So I think that's important to just have those discussions, be transparent, even with your kids, because you got to teach them these things and have them be better or more prepared than you were, because
Mhm.
we're just throwing adults out into society who don't know how to have to balance a checkbook anymore.
This
But
is true.
you should understand how to budget, right?
Mhm.
Not and what credit means, right? There's good
Right.
credit, bad credit, or good debt and bad debt, right? Don't just run up a credit card when you get out and
Right.
keep putting yourself behind, right?
Those are good things. So the junior treatment, is that just in Detroit or do they have one in Atlanta as well?
They have one in Atlanta.
Oh,
I think they have them in most major cities. May have
okay.
to look it up. I'm not sure how far your organization spreads, but I know in the South and in the Midwest, it's available for community service, and it's a good program.
I'm going to check into that because that's something that I've always wanted to do, kind of help the next generation. So I'm
Right.
big on education.
Mhm. And like I said, we want to give that information and educate people financially. And if you can start young, you at least plant a seed, right?
Fantasy.
It's
Right,
harder when we get adults as clients to, and
right.
something like, you don't know this, but hey, it happens, but here and now, let's, try to keep learning and doing better, right? From a
Mm-hmm.
financial standpoint.
I
Because
agree.
finances lead to a lot of other things too. People don't realize. So your financial health can lead to, if you don't have a good financial health, it can lead to strains on, relationships,
Relationships.
strains with, mental health
Mm-hmm.
and cause depression. That's a big issue. Debt weighs on people's student loans,
That's
credit
true.
cards. So if you don't know where you stand, you just keep building that hole. So if you kind of get a better financial picture, maybe you can, adjust that budget so you can get yourself out of those situations. And it just helps you
It
on
helps,
more
right?
one
Right.
level. I just want to say you got good finances because it also impacts your mental health and your
Mm-hmm.
relationships and how you deal with people, how you view the world, right?
Right. I like that. I like that.
Numbers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's true because once you kind of write things down and you become aware of it, then it changes the way you think about it.
Yeah,
So that's
think twice about that Starbucks coffee.
mm-hmm.
Maybe that's okay
Mm-hmm.
until we get these credit cards down, right?
Right.
Maybe we want to get out of an apartment into a home,
A
right?
home.
Maybe we want to
Right.
get that credit score up, and, but you
Mm-hmm.
got a plan to do so. You can't, because
Mm-hmm.
what you've been doing may have not been working, right?
Right.
So it's not
Right.
about what you have, it's about how you use it and allocate it. So,
Very true. Very true. Very true. Because you can do a lot with the little if you use it the right way.
mhm.
I agree. Awesome, awesome. Well, DeMario, thank you so much for joining me today. You shared a lot of good information, a lot of good information. Hopefully, people will take it into consideration to apply it to their life. You can hear a lot of things, but if you don't apply it, it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
So let's get some.
Uh, Thank you for having me, and I'm glad I can share what knowledge I do have. I just want to help people or get the information out there so we can better ourselves.
Better
A
ourselves.
lot of people don't give out free game, but I like to give out as much as possible to help whoever I can.
Mm-hmm,
Just want
mm-hmm.
everyone to reach their success level, whatever that may be, right? So I'm just
Yes.
trying to get that information out.
Yes, yes. And that's what we need to do. Give out the free information. The other part will come,
Yeah,
but we have to educate people. So
exactly.
awesome. Awesome. So you can
Thank you.
find, you're welcome. You can find DeMario at DeMarioBlackCPA.com and on Instagram at DeMario Black CPA. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, underscore before the CPA, but I
Underscore
should
before the
pop up.
CPA. Yes, you do pop up. So awesome. So thank you guys all for joining me. Follow me on Instagram as well, MLMCPA. And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on the podcast, please like, subscribe, and share.